Welcome back to Schmattz Outdoors, everyone. Again, we're going to do a two-part video series for check day 4 on my 2022 Minnesota Trapline. Again, I had a lot of catches again, and I just don't want to jam them all into one video for you guys. So this is going to be part 1. It'll be roughly half of the day, or roughly halfway through my line, and then on Sunday we'll do part 2, which will be the second half of the line and the end of the day wrap up. Enjoy the video.
All right, guys, welcome back to Schmattz Outdoors. We're just getting ready to go here this morning. Last night I filled my peat moss and my urine and all that. Pretty much got the truck 100% ready to go this morning, so all I had to do is throw my waders back in, and I think I'm ready to go. So I didn't throw in or throw out really any traps. I threw out, I had a couple muskrat traps that seemed like they were just setting off on their own, so I pulled them. And again, I put them in a special spot in my shed down there with the rest of the traps that don't seem to be tuned the way I want them to be. So next summer, hopefully I kind of have an idea which pile is which, but so I can work on those traps a little bit to make sure they're gonna work good next year. You could probably see the sun hasn't come up yet. We're getting a good and early start. We're gonna get those nuisance beaver sets in today, unless I have like 15 catches before then, not including muskrats, but like unless I have a lot of land animals already caught by then. But that's the plan. We're gonna get those nuisance beaver sets in. The way things are going, I may not be water trapping for super long here, so I want to get them in because I don't want to have to carry the waders along just for those beaver sets. So we're going to try and get the beaver caught right away here, get them out of the way, and then move on with my life, like I said. So, because by the end of the week here, we're going to be pulling all the water sets anyway. So, yeah, that's the only sets I really plan on adding. Again, we'll kind of see as I get towards the end of the line. I could add a few more muskrat sets. I have a couple more slews I could drop some in. Just kind of depends on, like I said, what time I get there and how much time I have. I kind of have a time in mind when I want to get to certain places, so we'll kind of see if I'm running on schedule or not. If I'm behind schedule a little bit, I may skip adding sets in today. And that may sound kind of dumb, but I think I mentioned it on the end of yesterday's video. If I'm making enough catches that I can't hardly keep the line run the way it is, I don't really want to add more sets because that's just going to put me that much farther behind every day, if I keep making the number of catches I am. So I'm going to ride the sets I have until they start slowing down a little bit, which, it could be today or it could be 2 weeks from now. So we're going to ride with what I got, and then kind of as each day dictates, we'll see if I add a few more or not. I'd love to get some sets around my farm here. I don't have nothing out here. I'd like to get a couple coyote sets out and that type of stuff. So, and then when I said these nuisance beaver sets today, the coyote sets here around the farm probably won't happen tonight either, but you'd never know. But yeah, that's all I really have. We'll just give you a quick look at the truck. Like I said, I didn't really add or do anything differently here. I still got all my muskrat traps, dog proofs, that I throw muskrats in when I catch them, coyote sets, coyote bag and my raccoon bag. I do have a couple more mink boxes. I don't really know where I'm gonna put them, but if I do find a good spot or see a mink run across the road or something silly, I have them. And if I do add a few muskrat sets out, if I right there by the Slew anyway, it takes 2 minutes, 3 minutes to drop that mink box in there. I never know which set's going to be the one that catches. So, all right, I think that's all I got this morning. Like I said, we're going to get out on the road early today. Before I probably get to the first sets, the sun will be just peeking over the horizon, which will be perfect. I can see then, and I can see now, but the sun's going to be shining on the animals if I have them caught. So we're gonna do the same thing I did yesterday. We're gonna run this little line or loop that's kind of right by my house or north of my house here. So I'll be coming back by kind of my house to head to the main part of my line. So we're gonna do that first here. Basically, I don't have to check them in waders tonight is kind of the idea behind it. I mean, I could always stop and take my waders off, but I don't really want to waste the time when I only have just a few land sets after the last muskrat set. So if I can run these coyote sets first, you know, it just saves me not having to do them in waders. So, all right, that's all I got. Hopefully the next time you see me, I got something to show you. All right, guys. Well, that didn't take long. I'm literally to the very first set of first set that I checked today, and we got ourselves a catch. So basically what we have is a field change here. So, you know, obviously this side ain't worked, this side is right now. It comes up and there's this grove out here. Yesterday I had a skunk over here along this fence line, probably about right in here somewhere. I had a skunk in there, but right here I got myself a nice coyote bouncing around in my set here. So I don't put this one here a ton. Look at all the, oh, it's all tore up along here. Boy, if I had to bet, there's probably other coyotes here or something. Because look at all how tore up this whole area is around this coyote. So my coyote can only get to there. You can see all of this whole area right in here is all tore up, including like way over here. So if I was a betting man, there was more than just this one here. And I only have just the one set here. Typically I only catch like one or maybe two coyotes between, you know, these two sets in a season, if that. Some years don't even catch nothing. So, but yeah, nice coyote to start the morning off. Yeah, it's tore up way over that way, like all this whole area, and you know, all this area is all tore up. Again, looks like he's pretty well furred. We'll get this guy out of here, and so what we're gonna do, I got, like I said, these 4 coyote sets to check, and then we'll actually swing by home and we'll drop this guy at home so I don't have to haul him around all day. So it's supposed to get up like close to 70 degrees today, so having these coyotes in my truck all day probably ain't the greatest for them either. So, all right, first trap of the morning. I've mentioned it plenty of times, but the first one should be as good as the last one. So we'll get him out of here. We'll get moved on. Hopefully, was hoping for a little bit more relaxed day today, but you know, first set, got a catch already. I don't know what that really means for the rest of the day, but we'll get going here. All right, guys. So I'm back by this big drainage ditch here. Yesterday I had a raccoon on the other side of this big culvert in a dog proof, that big guy. He actually weighed 27 pounds. But the day before that, I showed you guys I had a skunk in my 220 and I got another skunk in the 220. So all this is, again, is there's just a trail runs right down like the bottom of the washout that goes in through this culvert here, and they kind of got a trail up through the grass over here, and I put it over here because then I can see it from up there, and I could see the white stripes from up on top of the hill there. So got myself a first skunk of the day. This one don't look real great. He's got all kinds of burrs and he's real orange colored, so I don't know, we'll take him home either way and get him out of here and we'll move on. All right, guys, we're basically just down to the next set here, and got myself another catch. I don't think I've showed you this area yet this year, so my truck's right up here on the road. So what there's a big culvert going under the road, kind of a woody draw, goes up through here. It doesn't go real far, maybe a couple 100 yards up this way, and then it kind of just turns into a grass draw. But there's kind of a light trail like right here you could see, and then the bottom of the creek bottom, obviously. And I got myself a nice raccoon here. Not the biggest raccoon in the world. You know, different years it looks like they have like a trail usually like right on the top on either one or the other sides. This year it wasn't real defined, but I also have another set right up by the culvert just in case. But got myself a nice raccoon here. So yeah, we're making good catches early on the line again today. So hopefully this is signs for things to come. There'll be a good long day on the line. I wanted to make the point too, so it's been getting up to like, you know, 65 the last few days during the day. This morning it was 30 degrees when I got up, so, you know, I figured stuff would have run most of the night because again, it never got below freezing till right at morning here. So, all right, we'll get this guy out of here and set remade, move on. All right, guys, we're next location here. Not making a lot of progress through the line at a rate like this, but we're making catches, so that's all that matters. So what we got here is this old abandoned barn. There's a couple of steel bins. Last year over here on these trees I had a coyote set, but as you can see they don't have this field work yet. So I plan on putting some coyote sets there and some on the line over on that side. And I got a couple dog proofs around here. And I noticed this right when I set this up on would have been Thursday or Friday. There was kind of a trail right here. And I walked over it until 2 days ago and I said, you know what, I'm gonna drop a 220 in here. So 2 days ago I dropped a 220 in here. And as you can see, I got myself a skunk in here, which isn't ideal necessarily, but you know, another catch into the truck. So, and I guess this is kind of a double-edged sword. I'm happy to catch them in a 220 because I don't have to try and syringe pull and do all that out of a dog proof, you know, and the chances of him spraying and all that. But I can smell him. As soon as I got out of my truck, I could smell that I had a skunk. So I'm like, oh, please be in the 220 and not my dog proof. And he is, luckily, but it stinks. So typically when you catch them in a 220, I have more times than not, it seems like they spray, which isn't real good for me trying to save the essence and sell the essence. But we'll get this guy out of here. All I have is just an H stand. It's right here, right in that area. All right, guys. So I know I like to think this, that there's otters around, but cow, I'm wondering if I ain't getting messed with here. Because this set here, you can see my trap is still set, but my bait is gone. Down on the far end of this same slough, my foothold was still set and the bait was gone. And my 110 was set off down there. My 110 is set off here. So I don't know if somebody's messing with me or if something else is messing with me. I'm gonna raise my bait out of the water just a little bit higher on that set. Because this is 2 days in a row that same thing has happened to me. So apparently I'm gonna check that trap as well, make sure that it's, you know, goes off easily. Yesterday actually that trap was set off, the bait was gone too. So I don't know, that seems very suspicious to me. When I'm on the other side of the road, again, this is this kind of bigger slough here, and there's a little chunk on that side. I see I do finally have a catch here. So I hope you guys can see him. Right here is a muskrat under the water. That set there, my baited pole set is still working. I got a pretty decent sized muskrat there, but that's the first one of the day. And I'm 16 muskrat sets in to get the first one. The whole first slough, the first 8, none of them were even set off or anything. So until I got to this slough, I didn't have to remake any. And my 110 on this side of the road was set off down on that end too. So a few set off traps with nothing in them, which is not ideal, but finally made a catch. And like I said, we're gonna doctor those sets up a little, or not doctor them, but check them out a little bit, make sure that they're working the way I want them to be. Make sure that 110 isn't just hair triggering going off on its own, and we're gonna raise my bait up a little bit on that other pole set, see if I can catch the bait thief. All right guys, so we're to the next slough here. Again, this is that slough and it gets bigger kind of back behind this tree. I got a mink box and the colony set and stuff on that side, and I haven't checked any of those, but I can see that both of my sets on this side of the road are set off. And see how this one here is turned? Well, we'll get a little closer for you. So see how my carrot and thing are facing this way? I normally have them facing that way. That's pretty much a telltale sign that there's a catch on that pole. And my 110 is set off here too. Oh, that one's got a miss. This one does have a muskrat on there. I could see him. So we got one little muskrat there, caught by the front leg. So yeah, if my pole is turned like that, you know, obviously I could see the trap was set off, but if the pole is turned, that pretty much is a guarantee that I had a catch there and it just wasn't a misfire on the trap. And pretty much almost always that there's something sitting there waiting for me. So all right, we're on the other side. So culvert comes through, mink box is right there, still set. My 110 over here is set off, that one's set off. This one's still working for the second day in a row. So if I have a muskrat over there, I may move this set like out a little bit or just move it a little bit. Ooh, we got just a misfire there. Not happy about the misfires. And let's pull the old colony trap out. And we got just a single there. So 6 yesterday, just 2 today, and a couple empty traps. So like I said, I may still move this one here. I may move it. You can kind of see there's a little bit of floating weeds here. I may move it just right out over this way a little bit. And then as long as I'm like here and remaking this set, I usually drop a little bit. I use Cavan's bread and butter as one of my lures, and I'll drop a little bit of that on that sugar beet as long as I'm right next to them. If I don't get out of my truck, I don't go out and re-lure them, but if I'm already out there like I am right now, I'll re-lure, you know, give me the best chance I can. All right, guys, I'm down in the same slough. So that culvert where I just had the colony trap and stuff's right down here. This is that approach that cuts across this, kind of cuts the slough in half. And I got that otter set just on the other side of this approach. Nothing on that side of this approach, but we got ourselves a floater. This looks like another pretty decent muskrat there. And that set there is still working, so. Putting a few in the truck today, but nothing like yesterday, which I expected, quite honestly. You know, your catch should be the highest the first day and then go down as the season goes on, because obviously there's way less animals there to catch. So, and who knows, like the wind could have been wrong or whatever, you know, and they just didn't happen to swim over here. So we'll get this guy out of here. I got a few sets on the very end of this slough and we'll be on our way. All right, guys, so I mentioned about the, you know, when I was checking the last sets about the wind direction. So yesterday when I was here and checked these, the wind was blowing out of the northwest, so it was blowing away from this road. You know, it was blowing out into this big. You can see now the wind switched again. But I'm making the catches on the south side of the road today because, like I said, you know, my lure is blowing out that way. Can I say that makes 100% difference? I don't know, but I believe we got ourselves a double here. So we got little guy in a 110 on this side, and a little bit bigger one, but not huge on that side in my foothold. So, you know, pair here, none on that side of the road, nothing set off. My otter set's still working. So again, those two otter sets are long shots. I have, you know, like a 1% faith that they're actually going to catch an otter. I feel like they're going to catch a raccoon or something before they catch an otter, but we'll get these two guys out of here. So that's 4 out of this slough today, where I think yesterday I had, I don't know, like close to 10, 7, 8. All right, guys, I'm actually 2 sloughs down the road. I had just a couple sets in that one great big slough. Like I said, we're kind of test sets. My 110 was set off, but I don't know, it could have been, again, just the 110 being hair triggered and, you know, wave or even a duck or anything could have set it off. But I could see how this pole, it's hard for you guys to see, but it's leading like this and it's turned around because, again, my bait is turned the wrong way. So there's nothing on that one. So we get him standing there a little better. But my 110 is gone over here. I see we got myself a nice little muskrat. So yeah, just making it down the road. Like I said, I wasn't so sure there was even going to be too many in this slough, but apparently there's a few in here because I had 2 yesterday and now 1 today. So we'll get this one reset and move on. All right, guys, we're moving down the line at a pretty good clip here. Well, I guess it's only been a few sets since I turned you on last, but so what I have is there's an abandoned farm place. There's an old barn that's collapsed down in here. I believe this is a granary, and there's another one around the corner. I got one set here. You kind of see there's a trail goes right into the corner of this. And then last year there was more of a trail over here. You know, it looked like they were coming out of this building and going like over into this stuff. And I ended up catching one skunk real early, like out here in the middle. But so this year there wasn't as good a trail in here. But I thought, you know, the trail's over there, so I put my set over there. But I thought, you know, I'm going to put one over here too. So, well, luckily I did, because he's being kind of shy. He's hiding underneath, partly under that building. I tried to make sure I was out here far enough that he couldn't get in that building, because he's still out far enough I can get him dispatched. So, looks like a big coon, you know, probably in that 20 plus range. So we'll get, and I'll move these boards. I'll probably throw them up over here on top of these. You try to keep so they don't have entanglement. I don't know if he tore them off the side of over here. Again, this is a collapsed building, so I'm not too worried about it, but you know, you got to kind of be mindful of that where you're making sets too. You know, if this is somebody's actual house or actual farm site, you know, I don't want them damaging the buildings, but in here it doesn't really matter. So like I said, we'll get this guy dispatched. Nice, great big coon. Makes 2 for the day now. And all right, guys, so I haven't showed you this spot yet this year. Last year this was kind of my main producer of coyotes. I think I got 5 coyotes and maybe even a couple fox and a badger back here. But what I have is the abandoned farm place up here where I just caught that big raccoon. He's big. He's probably close to 25 pounds. But what I have this year is up on the other side of these, kind of where the black field and the bean field stubble meet. I got 2 coyote sets over there this year because it's all dry, so the coyotes can run both sides of this year. And then I put 2 back on this side, but I don't know if they're going to do anything with the corn stalks this year. I kind of wish they would, because then it would focus the animals down, you know, on the edge of the field and not, you know, now the coyotes can run. They're going to be mousing all over the place. But unfortunately today I got a double, but not really the double I want in my coyote set. So looks like 2 on the large side raccoon. So we got 1 raccoon here. This was just a dirt hole. This one here was a pipe dream set again. So a second catch I've ever made in a pipe dream set. But yeah, I got myself a double on raccoons. Nice big raccoons. They look like they're very well furred. I couldn't even see this one, honestly. He was laying down like perfectly flat on his belly when I pulled up. You know, I come up on the hill right over here, and I couldn't even see this one because like this grass was blocking him, but this one was just bouncing around. So we'll quickly get both of these guys dispatched and it's gonna take me a minute to get both of these sets remade. So all right, we'll get working here. Like I said, we're that's three raccoons at this place, 4 for the day again. So I mean, it's kind of nice. The last few years it seems like the numbers have been down, so it's kind of nice that a guy's catching a few again. But all right, got some work ahead of me here, and I feel like I'm a little bit ahead on the line right now, so this is gonna kind of set me back to about even probably by the time I get both these remade. So all right, guys, I may have jinxed myself last night, but then again, I was gonna need it at some point this year anyway. So I threw in this device. If you guys know anything about my line, you're gonna know what that device means. So I'm off on the road over here. I have a couple coyote sets here. One right here, and I had a pipe dream set here again. Again, this is my first year trying them. I'm gonna try and get maybe 6, 7 pipe dreams out. I think I only got 3 out now, and I think they've all made catches. So, but I got a badger here. He actually doesn't have it tore up as bad as I thought he did. From over there, it looked like a huge dirt pile, but it really isn't too bad. The only thing I don't know is where my pipe is at here, and that might be the trick to see if I can actually find my pipe. but he doesn't have a lot to fill in. I mean, in the back, I don't necessarily care. I'll get some of this leveled off, but I don't know. It's probably not the biggest badger I've ever caught. He looks like he's pretty well furred, honestly, for this time of year. But yeah, I got set right here, and like I said, I already was running a double set here. You know, again, can't catch two if you don't have two sets. So, and like I said, I was kind of testing out this pipe dream set, you know, in comparison to just a standard dirt hole. Honestly, you know, one catch doesn't really make or break the, you know, my test necessarily, but at least gives me an idea, maybe, you know, if I want to be using these more in the future, which I very well might. I mean, I'm going to test them for a few years probably before I really decide whether or not they're, you know, they're working on my line or not. But man, this guy stinks. He just smells. I can smell the odor off of him. If any of you have ever caught a badger, you kind of know the odor I'm talking about. But so he kind of stinks, and I'm not really down. Well, I am a little bit downwind of him, I guess. The wind's kind of blowing this direction, but anyway, we'll get this guy dispatched and get my shovel out here. Like I said, we'll get this leveled off the best I can and try and make my set back in here. Like I said, we'll see if I can find my pipe in amongst all this mess in here and get my pipe dream set remade here, and we'll move on. All right, guys, so we're basically like the next location after where I had that badger caught. What we have is kind of a big draw system out here, comes out in this field. They asked me to stay away from the actual draws until after deer season here, but I did put one coyote set over on this fence line. It's actually about right here someplace. And then the other day, I think 2 checks ago, I had a coyote down on this end of this fence line, and then there's kind of a draw over there. But I have seen the gate to get in here is right down here, right in the corner. And I've actually seen coyote tracks right where I come through there by the gate. So I decided, you know, I'm going to put a coyote set on this fence line close to this gate, and then one on that fence line, you know, because I can check these without disturbing their deer hunting. But today, it is the day of the raccoons, and big raccoons. So yeah, I just had a dirt hole set here, and I got myself a nice big raccoon. I don't know when they come, but the farmer must have come and trimmed this tree off here. These branches weren't here, and I kind of hope they get them moved before, or I just hope they don't leave them here for too long, because it kind of defeats my whole, you know, the animals running right on this fence line. You know, again, north wind would be kind of blowing in my face, you know, so again, coyotes should be running the south side of this fence line, you know, set and checking the fence line. So, but anyway, all right, we'll give you a little view of him here. I don't know, he just seems a little darker color, like he's more black colored than some of the other ones I've got. But, and I just was using, I think, this little bush here as my backer. And I'll have to kind of see if that's indeed what I did, which I think it looks like it. I don't like it leaning over my set, so I'll have to either try and straighten it up, or I may even break it off. But all right, we'll get this guy out of here and we'll get moved on.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching part 1 of the 2 parts for check day 4. I hope you enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Otherwise, stay tuned for Sunday's video for the second half of this check, including the end of the day wrap up. We'll see you there.